The birthday banner read, "Happy 35th Rachel," in glittery letters strung across my parents' living room. Mom was arranging cupcakes while my sister Lindsey scrolled through her phone, occasionally showing travel photos to anyone who'd look. "Bali is incredible this time of year," Lindsey announced, zooming in on a resort photo. 5-star accommodations. Private beach. Butler service. The whole package is only $45,000. "That's not only anything," I said, hanging streamers. "It is when you have savings sitting around doing nothing," Lindsey countered. "Which is why I wanted to talk to you before everyone gets here." Here it was. I'd known something was coming when Mom insisted on this small family gathering before the actual party started. Just parents, Lindsey, her husband Brad, and me. Dad emerged from the kitchen carrying champagne. Perfect timing. "Everyone sit. We have something to discuss with Rachel." I sat on the couch, already exhausted. My family treated every gathering like an opportunity to discuss my finances. Mom settled beside me, taking my hand. "Sweetie, we want to talk about your future. You're 35 now. Still single, still living in that small apartment, still driving that old car. We're worried about you." "I'm fine," I said. "But are you?" Lindsey leaned forward, her voice dripping with concern. "Rachel, you're a mid-level accountant. You make what, $60,000 a year? You're not building anything. No house. No investments. Just that sad little savings account." "I have investments," I said quietly. "A 401k doesn't count," Brad said dismissively. "We're talking about real wealth. Real assets. The kind of thing that builds generational prosperity." "Which is why," Dad interjected, "we wanted to propose a family investment opportunity. We pool our resources. Buy a vacation rental property. Something in Florida or Arizona. The whole family benefits." Mom squeezed my hand. "We've done the math. We need about $200,000 for the down payment and renovations. Your father and I can contribute $50,000. Lindsey and Brad can do $30,000. We need you to contribute $120,000. I stared at them. "You want me to give you $120,000? "Not give," Lindsey corrected. "Invest. We'll all own shares. The rental income will be passive revenue for everyone. Plus," Brad added, "you don't need all that savings. You live like a college student. What are you saving for anyway? You're 35 and single. No wedding to pay for. No kids. Just you and that cat. The money is wasted sitting in a bank." "And while we're being honest," Lindsey said, pulling out her phone again, "I really need about $45,000 for this Bali trip. Brad's taking a sabbatical from work, and we deserve this vacation after the year we've had. You can cover it, Rachel. You always have money for emergencies. This is our emergency, we're burned out." Mom nodded enthusiastically. "See? That's perfect. $120 for the investment property, $45 for Lindsey's trip. $165 total. You don't need all that savings. Family is more important than hoarding money." I pulled my hand away from Mom's. "You want me to give you $165,000? For a rental property I don't want and a vacation I'm not invited on." "Invest," Dad emphasized. "Not give. Invest. And you're invited to Bali," Lindsey said unconvincingly. "If you want to come. Though honestly, Brad and I need couple time, so it might be awkward with a third wheel." "Let me get this straight," I said slowly. "You think I have $165,000 in savings? You think I'm a mid-level accountant making $60,000 a year? You think I live small because I'm poor and sad? And based on those assumptions, you want me to give you all my money for ventures that benefit everyone but me?" "That's a very negative way of framing it," Mom said, hurt creeping into her voice. "We're trying to include you in family prosperity. You're always so isolated. So alone. This is us trying to bring you into the fold. By taking my money," I said. "By pooling family resources," Dad corrected. "That's what successful families do. They build wealth together." The doorbell rang. Perfect timing. "That's probably the caterer," Mom said, standing. "Rachel, just think about it. We need an answer by tomorrow. The property seller wants a decision." "I'll get the door," I said, standing quickly. I opened it to find exactly who I'd invited. Christine Martinez, my wealth manager from Pinnacle Private Banking, Robert Chin, my investment advisor from Goldman Sachs, and Patricia Hayes, my estate attorney. all carrying briefcases, all looking very serious in expensive suits. "Good afternoon, Rachel," Christine said professionally. "Thank you for inviting us. Are we early?" "Perfect timing," I said, leading them inside. My family stared as three strangers walked into the living room. "Mom, Dad, Lindsey, Brad," I said calmly, "these are my financial advisors. Christine Martinez, Robert Chin, and Patricia Hayes. They manage my wealth portfolio." Lindsey laughed nervously. "Your what?" "My billion-dollar wealth portfolio," I said, gesturing for my advisors to sit. The room went absolutely silent. Christine opened her briefcase with practiced efficiency. "Mr. and Mrs. Morrison, thank you for having us. Rachel asked us to attend today to discuss some misconceptions about her financial situation." "Billion?" Dad's voice cracked. "That's not possible." Robert pulled out a tablet and turned it to face them. "This is Rachel's current portfolio summary. Total assets under management, $1.2 billion. Brad's face went white. Lindsey's mouth literally dropped open. Mom sat down heavily. Dad just stared. "That's impossible," Lindsey whispered. "She's an accountant." "She was an accountant," Christine corrected. 15 years ago. Rachel is now the founder and CEO of Morrison Financial Analytics, a fintech company that provides AI-driven financial analysis for Fortune 500 companies. Robert continued. "Her company went public 3 years ago at a valuation of $800 million. Her personal shares were worth approximately $600 million at IPO. Current value, $900 million. Combined with real estate holdings, investment portfolios, and liquid assets, her total net worth is approximately $1.2 billion. Mom's hand went to her chest. "That's not possible. She lives in a small apartment." "A penthouse apartment she owns," Patricia said. "In a building she owns. Total property value, $14 million. She also owns a vacation home in Aspen valued at $8 million, a portfolio of rental properties worth approximately $40 million, and several commercial real estate investments. She drives an old car," Brad said weakly. "A 2015 Tesla Model S she likes because it's reliable," Christine said. "She also owns a Range Rover, a Porsche, and has a driver on retainer for business functions. She simply doesn't need to prove her wealth through displays." Lindsey was shaking her head. "This is some kind of joke. Rachel, what is this?" "This is me finally being honest," I said calmly. "For 15 years I've let you believe I was a struggling accountant. I dressed simply, lived modestly, never corrected your assumptions, because I wanted to see who you really were when you thought I had nothing. And what we've seen," Patricia said, pulling out documents, "is a pattern of financial exploitation. Over the past decade, Rachel's family has requested approximately $840,000 from her for various emergencies and investments. She's given you $320,000 of that amount." She slid papers across the coffee table. "Bank transfers, canceled checks, Venmo receipts. Here's $30,000 for Lindsey's wedding," Patricia continued. $50,000 for your parents' home repairs. $25,000 for Brad's failed business venture. $15,000 for Lindsey's car. And on and on. Rachel gave and gave and gave. And not once did anyone pay her back or even say thank you. "We said thank you," Mom protested weakly. "You said family helps family, and asked for more," I corrected. 2 weeks after I gave you $50,000 for roof repairs, you bought a new car. The roof never got fixed. You lied." Dad's face had gone from white to gray. "Rachel, we didn't know that I was rich?" I interrupted. "So you only stole from me because you thought I was poor? That's worse. You saw someone you believed was struggling and you bled them dry." "We didn't steal," Lindsey said, but her voice shook. "You gave us that money willingly." Christine pulled out more documents. "Did she? Because we have text messages where you called Rachel crying about emergencies that didn't exist. We have emails where you guilt-tripped her about family obligations. We have recorded calls where you told her she was selfish for hesitating to give you money." "That's manipulation," Robert said flatly. "Systematic financial abuse." "And today," Patricia continued, "you asked her for $165,000. $120 for a property investment where Rachel would take all the financial risk, and 45 for a luxury vacation she's not even really invited on. All while believing she'd be giving you her entire savings. Mom was crying now. We thought we were including her. Making her part of the family success. You thought you were taking everything she had, I said quietly. That's what you wanted. My entire savings. You weren't concerned about leaving me with nothing. You just wanted what you thought I had. Brad stood abruptly. This is entrapment. You let us think you were poor. You set us up. I lived modestly, I corrected. You assumed I was poor because I didn't perform wealth the way you expected. And then you used those assumptions to justify taking from me. Christine handed me a folder. I opened it and pulled out photographs. These are from Lindsey's Facebook. Last year's, struggling to make ends meet photos. Except you're in Paris. At the Ritz. Wearing Chanel. I pulled out more photos. Here's Brad's Instagram. Posts about barely scraping by, while showing off a new Rolex and courtside seats at basketball games. You used my money to fund a luxury lifestyle, I said, while crying poverty to get more. That's not family helping family. That's fraud. Dad found his voice. What do you want from us? Accountability, I said simply. Christine pulled out settlement agreements. Rachel is offering you 2 options. Option 1. She files civil suits for the return of the $320,000 you never repaid, plus interest and damages. Conservatively, you're looking at $450,000 in judgments. We don't have that kind of money. Lindsey said desperately. Then option 2, Patricia said. You sign these agreements acknowledging you manipulated and exploited Rachel for years. You agree to repay the $320,000 over 15 years with reasonable interest. You surrender any information you have about her finances. You never request money from her again. You attend financial counseling. In exchange, she doesn't sue. 15 years. Brad's voice rose. That's insane. That's what happens when you spend money that isn't yours, Robert said calmly. You have to earn it back. Mom reached for me. Rachel, please. We're your family. We love you. Can't we work this out privately? I moved away from her reach. We are working it out. You're getting to choose between repayment or lawsuit. That's more generous than you deserve. But you're a billionaire. Lindsey said desperately. What's $320,000 to you? It's nothing. Why do you care? Because it's not about the money, I said. It's about the fact that you thought you were taking everything I had and you didn't care. It's about the fact that you've lied to me, manipulated me, and exploited me for a decade. It's about the fact that even now, knowing I'm wealthy, you still think you're entitled to it. We're family, Dad said weakly. Family doesn't lie, I said. Family doesn't steal. Family doesn't manipulate and exploit. You taught me that actions have consequences. These are yours. Patricia stood. You have 48 hours to sign the agreements and make your first payment. If we don't receive them, Rachel files suit on Monday. What about the birthday party? Mom asked desperately. Everyone's coming in an hour. Cancel it, I said standing. I'm not celebrating with people who tried to rob me blind today. Rachel, please, Lindsey started. Sign the agreements, I said. Repay what you stole. Maybe in 15 years after you've actually worked to undo the damage you caused we can talk about rebuilding. But right now, I'm done being your aim. I walked toward the door. My advisors followed. Rachel. Dad called. What do we tell people? About today? About you. I turned back. Tell them the truth. That you spent a decade stealing from me because you thought I was poor. That you got caught. That there are consequences. Tell them whatever you want. I don't care anymore. We didn't know you were rich, Mom sobbed. If we'd known. If you'd known, you would have asked for more, I said quietly. That's the problem. You didn't love me or respect me. You just wanted what you thought I had. Well, now you know what I actually have. And you'll never see a penny of it again. The signed agreements arrived by courier 46 hours later. All of them. The first payments arrived on schedule. The birthday party was cancelled. Family members called, confused. I didn't answer. Eventually, word spread about what had happened. Some relatives took my side. Most didn't. Told me I was cruel for not just giving them the money since I had so much. I blocked most of them. My company thrived. We expanded internationally. My net worth grew to $1.6 billion within 2 years. Forbes put me on their cover, the billionaire who lived like she had nothing. The article detailed my story, how I'd built $1 billion company while my family thought I was a struggling accountant. How I'd lived modestly to see who people really were. How I discovered my family's true nature. Lindsey sent an email after the article. Everyone knows now. Everyone knows what you did to us. You've humiliated this family. I didn't respond. But my assistant did with a cease and desist letter. 5 years into the repayment plan, Dad had a health crisis. Mom called asking if I'd forgive the debt so they could afford treatment. I paid for his treatment directly through an anonymous trust. But I didn't forgive the debt. The lesson mattered more than the money. 7 years in, Lindsey had paid off her portion early. She'd gotten a real job, stopped living beyond her means and actually worked to earn the money she owed. He sent a letter. I've changed. I know you don't believe me and I don't blame you. I have. Thank you for not letting me get away with it. I needed to learn. I did learn. Thank you. I sent back one line. Proud of you. Keep going. 10 years after that birthday party, my parents paid off their debt. All $320,000 plus interest. They downsized, budgeted, and sacrificed the lifestyle they'd built on my money. Mom called. We're finished. It's paid. Can we talk? Really talk. I invited them to coffee. Just coffee. In public. Neutral territory. They looked older. Tired. But something else too, humbler maybe. We're sorry, Dad said. Really sorry. Not just for getting caught. For what we did. For who we were. We spent 10 years working to repay money we should never have taken. We understand now what we put you through. Do you? I asked. You let us think you had nothing, Mom said. And we tried to take even that. That's unforgivable. We know that. But we hope someday you might forgive us anyway. I looked at them, truly looked at them, for the first time in a decade. Maybe, I said. Someday. But it has to be real. No more lies. No more manipulation. No more treating me like a resource. Never, Dad promised. We lost 10 years with you. We won't waste whatever time we have left. 12 years after that birthday party, I started a foundation, the Hidden Wealth Project. We help people whose families exploit them financially. Provide legal support, counseling, and protection. Because I learned that millions of people suffer this. Family members who steal, manipulate, and exploit because they think they're entitled to it. At the foundation's launch, Lindsey attended. She'd become a financial counselor, helping people understand healthy family financial boundaries. You saved my life, she told me. I hated you for years. But you saved me from becoming someone permanently entitled and awful. Thank you. You saved yourself, I said. I just gave you a reason to. The birthday party where my net worth exposed their lies became the end of one life and the beginning of another. The life where I was their ATM ended. The life where I was free to be myself began. And honestly, best birthday present I ever gave myself. The family who asked for my extra money learned I didn't have extra money. I had boundaries, self-respect, and the courage to enforce both. That's worth more than any billion-dollar portfolio. Though the portfolio helps too.